Good evening and welcome to another edition of Fighting Words on the Fighting Words News Network. Fighting Words is brought to you each and every night of the week in grateful appreciation to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, men and women in police fire services, the doctors and nurses and first responders to COVID. Tonight's show is dedicated to a wonderful bunch of people. 2 weeks ago, today, a sergeant in the Indian River Sheriff's Office went on a simple eviction detail, and as she approached the door, the kind gentleman on the inside blew a shotgun through completely went through her vest and killed her. So for Sergeant Musgrove, this program is dedicated to you and your family. May the good Lord keep you and your family always in the palm of His hands. Tonight also will be we're wrapping up our season, so we want to say thank you very much for all the listeners that we have across the country. We appreciate you. Please remember two things during the holiday season: if you drink, don't drive. If you drive, don't drink. We want to keep you here every single week, as we do every time we come on. So we wish you a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, a Happy Hanukkah, and a Happy Kwanzaa, if that is whatever we covered. So tonight we're short-staffed at this point, but we're going to get right into the UFC with Caden. Chris Cyborg submitted Sue Collins. What do you think about that? Okay, Ewan. Caden, you're on mute.
Oh, my fault. I was on mute the whole time. I was just saying, I don't know much about who Chris Cyborg fought. I'm not too surprised that she got the win. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what promotion Chris Cyborg is fighting in now or who she's fighting for. Yeah. But I wish her all the luck. I think she's fighting for PFL now.
Yes, she is with PFL now. Yeah. While we're talking about PFL and MMA and UFC, the former UFC fighter, Alex Garcia, had a terrible turn for the worst. He and two other people were arrested this morning in Canada with 224 pounds of coke, 20 liters of GHB, 12 pounds of heroin, and $238,000 in cash. So for them ruining their lives, we're sorry to hear that. He had a good career, but obviously didn't make enough money to keep himself going. Okay, now, Caden, what the hell happened with Peter Yan and your buddy Divshell?
Man, Peter Yan, he pulled out a performance that I was not ready for, man. Mm-hmm. Not ready for it all. That was, what a fight. What a fight. That was an amazing fight. Those of you who have been watching the UFC for the past, 10 years, at most, at least, anywhere in the last 10 years, you've heard the name Peter Yan. He's consistently been one of the best boxers pound for pound in the UFC. Always an underrated name. Before this title shot, I was thinking, how did Peter Yan get a title shot? This guy's still fighting for titles. So it's 2025. Peter Yan is getting a title shot. It's going to be 2026, and Peter Yan's going to be a UFC champion still. Mm-hmm. That to me blows my mind. But what blows my mind even more is the fact that it came against Merab Dvalishvili. In my opinion, one of the greatest fighters that division has ever seen. And his reign in that division is one of the best we've ever seen. He has, I think the fourth longest active. He had the fourth longest winning streak out of any active fighter in professional MMA in the entire world. And Petr Yan just broke that in that win over Merab. But that was one hell of a fight, man.
Mm-hmm. It was a very short fight. No,
that was the other one. This was full. This was a fight.
That's right. This one was the extended one, but I didn't. That's one that really threw me for a loss when I put it on the board on Sunday afternoon. I thought Devashili was going to remain, the champ. It seems like Petr Yan had made his idea was to just get in there, take it to him, and he did. I did see earlier in the week that he had trained with Joshua's group to get because he's pretty much of a grappler, right?
Joshua, who?
No, Yan went over and worked out with Joshua's group to get his. Anthony Joshua, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it. Petr Yan, he's a great boxer, and he always seems to like to learn from the best. Those Russian guys, they work hard, man.
Mm-hmm.
They work very hard.
Yeah.
And that was just that was another thing. Merab, nobody outworks Merab. Nobody outworks Merab. That's his thing. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what, Merab will outwork you. You might be a better fighter than him. You might be more skilled than him, but he's always going to outwork you. And that's why he's a UFC champion, or was a UFC champion. Mm-hmm. But then here comes Petr Yan. This guy doesn't stop, man. He's like a little Energizer bunny, man. And the craziest thing is that he's 30-something years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. Joshua Van and Alex Bejoya. That threw me for a loss also.
Don't let it throw you for a loss. I know you probably saw the 27-second KO.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what it was. It was 27 seconds, and Pantoja dislocated his elbow, and they had to stop the fight. And then Joshua Van won the fight. But I mean that fight will come again. It sucks that Pantoja gets his loss that way. You know what I mean? Like, right. He was going for titles. He was going to become one of the greatest fighters the UFC had ever seen in terms of accolades. There's not enough talent in that division to become one of the greatest. But in terms of accolade wise, I mean, you can just win and win and win and win and win, because there's not too many prospects there. And Pantoja, I mean, dude, he's built for that division. He's like 5'4". He's a little pit bull, a little bulldog. He goes in there and he works hard every single time. So that's something you got to appreciate about him. I think it's so unfortunate that it had to happen there. But Joshua Van being a champion, again, there's just not too much to talk about with that fight because nothing happened. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now Joshua Van's the champion, and it'll happen again sometime. I'm thinking probably in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully Pantoja doesn't get any worse, because Pantoja, he's like 36 years old, 35 years old. So I think that's the worst part about it. Joshua Van, he has time.
Sure.
He's the second youngest UFC champion now in UFC history, behind John Jones. I would have liked it if I like Joshua Van. I'm a Joshua Van guy, but I would have liked it that night if Pantoja at least would have gotten a chance to fight.
Mm-hmm. Oh man! Oh crap!
Caden.
Yeah, I lost you there for a minute.
Sorry, I lost you there.
Yeah, no problem. So you think there'll be a second one?
Oh, 100%. There has to be an immediate rematch. Because that wasn't even a fight, really. That wasn't even really a fight.
Mm-hmm.
It was 27 seconds of who knows what. You know what I mean? Who knows what could have happened in that fight?
Right. Okay. The next thing is Cejudo has decided he's going to retire after his
again.
Yeah.
I I think it's in due time. He really should have never came back in the first place. I mean, honestly, I was one of the people saying that it was a good idea in the moment, but that was just because I wanted to see Triple C. I wanted to see Triple Champ back, Henry Cejudo, and I think that is the lore that, or just like the fantasy of that idea of him coming back and maybe becoming a UFC champion fueled him as well to make that comeback, and it just wasn't worth it. I don't think he won a single fight in his comeback.
No, I didn't understand. I wish Bob was still on because they were friends, and I'd like to see what his thoughts were on that whole thing. But I was surprised when he first came back. I was even more surprised with this last fight. It just didn't make any sense to me. So, all right, here's a question for you. What happened to your good friend Rachmaninoff? We haven't seen or heard from him in a while.
This is pretty crazy. I didn't know about this until a little bit ago. And if I didn't go out of my way to look this up because I had the same thought a couple of weeks ago, I would have nothing for you. But through my research, because I had that same question, I was wondering what happened to Rachmaninoff. What happened to the dude who was supposed to be, trailblaze the welterweight division straight to the top and become UFC champion?
Right.
Turns out his wife is like facing some crazy charges in like Mongolia or something. I think she might have like killed some dude. I think it was like in a car accident or something like that. But right now I know he's dealing with something like that. I think that's what I read. It might be false, but that is what I've been led to believe that is why he hasn't been fighting. And you go look at his thing, he said that it's for personal reasons. So I can assume that, he's probably going through some stuff right now.
Yeah. How about another one? I wondered. Jan Silva is going to fight Harold Allen in February. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. I've always liked Jan Silva. I like that whole group that they have, the Fighting Nerds, and that's got Diego Lopez, Carlos Prates, Hayo Berhayo, and Jon Silva, and they're winners. You know what I mean? Most recently, they've been losing. And that's kind of been hurting my heart. I actually think all of them, their most recent fights, except for Prates, have been losses. Sadly, but Prates' move is trailblazing his way to the top. But Jon Silva, I thought out of the three main dudes that spearhead the Fighting Nerds, like Prates, Berhayo, Jon Silva, I always thought that Jon Silva was the weaker one, not only because he's like 36 years old and he has less time to develop than these other guys, but he just always seemed a little bit slower, less refined, and more one-dimensional. And I think that always gets the best of him. But in a fight against Arnold Allen, this is a perfect fight for his abilities to shine. And nobody's got power like that, dude. I'm always going to go with Jon Silva if he's got a puncher's chance.
Okay. How about the UFC's trying to match Pembit and KG? What's your thoughts?
I think I saw that. It was either Pembit and Gaethje or Gaethje and Topuria. I saw something where Gaethje was fighting somebody. But either way, no matter what, Pembit should not get the title shot. That's my one thing. Pembit can fight anybody he wants to, just not Ilia Topuria, in my opinion. I think he's earned that right to fight anybody within the top five. Just definitely not the champion. You know what I mean? Like, you look at what he's done to get into the top five. It's worthy of getting into the top five because the guys that he's beaten, due to length. But you look at who they are, like Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler, Michael Venom Page, Bobby Green. Like, this isn't it is, he's not out here fighting Islam Makhachev and Arman Saryukin and contenders in that lightweight division. He's up there, taking the showman's route and fighting the showman's route, and fighting all the former giants of that division.
Right.
And that's how he's gotten his way to the top. And there's so many people that still want to see him get that title shot just because of his showmanship.
Mm-hmm.
But it just, you look at the other guys who actually deserve it, like Arman Saryukin, who I think he might be fighting tonight.
He is, yeah.
He is a guy who deserves it. Talk about anybody in the lightweight division that deserves a fight with anybody, and it's Arman Saryukin. And he should have had that title shot against Islam Makhachev. I think I was last year, maybe a year and a half ago, and he missed weight. And he's paid his dues, a year and a half, and I think this is his first fight since he missed weight.
Mm-hmm.
And he's put in his dues, he's put in his work. He's submitted to backup fighters in multiple fights, made weight for multiple fights that he wasn't even fighting in. And I always thought that he was getting did dirty by Hunter and Dana in the UFC. But now, hopefully now that he's getting a fight, he can turn something around and make a shot out of the best. But talking about somebody who deserves a shot with anybody, it's Arman Saryukin.
Yeah. Hey, you just brought up Dana White's name, and he's been hitting the papers an awful lot about getting into arguments and near fisticuffs with certain boxers or certain fighters. You want to explain that?
I didn't hear anything about that.
And it all comes down to the White House thing. Jones wants to do it, and they got into a war of words, and then according to Dana, punches were thrown. According to
that's not true.
Yeah,
no way.
And that's exactly what Jones is saying. He says he has a lot of cameras in his office. Watch the film, you see that there was nothing.
Why would a UFC champion ever fight some dude he's trying to get a contract from?
Hold on just a second. I got to get Z in here. Okay, Z, gonna put you right into the system. All right, we're up now with our boxing authority, Mr. Zito. Z, I know it's got to be cold up there. How cold is it?
A little too cold for me.
Hey, we had a cold spell last week. It went down to 72. Go ahead, Caden. Finish up what you were saying.
I was just leaving it at that. Now,
okay.
I think if they say John Jones did some stuff like that, I think that's completely asinine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Z, you'll put you right to the fire. Pitbull Cruz retained his title last week against Rash. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, he retained his title via draw. And to be honest, I thought he won the fight. I thought Isaac Cruz did, more than enough to win the fight. It was a very competitive fight throughout. He dropped Roach, I think, in round 2 with a nice, take a nice left hook. Pitbull fought the way Pitbull did, and a pretty good spot. Roach sat and then kind of, fought him in the pocket a bit. And really kind of looking at the Andre Ward's assessment of the fight, I have to agree with Andre Ward.
Right.
Roach, he started fighting toe-to-toe a little too soon and a little too often. And I think that the early rounds usually went to Pitbull plus the knockdown. The later rounds Roach came on, but still, I gave some of those later rounds to Isaac Cruz just off of aggression. And it's important because you want to, you kind of want to say, without pinpointing every single punch and everything. When I thought this fight, I'm trying to say, who would I rather be in the round? Which fighter affected the other fighter more? And to me, Pitbull, as far as that goes, Pitbull won cleanly. So I think that they gave it a draw just because it was real competitive. And I would like to see it again, but to be honest, I think that Cruz won.
Okay. All right, I'm going to give you another one real fast. O'Shaq Foster and Stephen Fulton.
Yeah, Stephen Fulton was he moved up 2 weight divisions and came in 2 pounds overweight. He was smaller than O'Shaq Foster. But that said, O'Shaq looked good. I like his jab. I like his discipline. I like his movement, and I like his game plan. Basically, essentially. So I'm gonna say this. I don't know. He wasn't able to lay too much power on Stephen Fulton. And Stephen Fulton's a guy that he's very, very crafty and cagey. So it's not easy to lay power on. With that said, O'Shaq did a very, very good job of neutralizing Foster. And Foster couldn't do anything. I mean, Fulton couldn't do anything offensively. So I have to give Foster credit.
Okay. Caden Pembroke and KG. UFC is trying to put that together. Is that a good fight or not?
I think it can be a good fight. I think Pembroke, he only gets better. He only gets better every single fight. Gaethje, I think he's at the point now where he is done progressing. You know what I mean? We've seen some guys like Dan Hooker recently make a run, and he's just about as old as Justin Gaethje. But the difference between actually, those guys that make those runs later in their careers and the guys who don't, especially guys at the top of the division. Justin Gaethje, he's been at the top of the division his entire career. He's been fighting killers his entire career, getting in war after war after war. And I think now he's at the point where it's wearing on him. It's every single fight. He looks just a little bit. It's not to the point where it's like Tony Ferguson regression. But I could definitely see his years and his mileage creeping up on him. And if anybody's going to show him how old he is or how many wars he's been through, it's going to be Paddy Pimblett. I mean, he's got the energy, he's got the youth. He doesn't have crazy power, but his pressure is engulfing. I think if he were to fight Justin Gaethje, I think he definitely win. You asked me this question a year ago. I say Paddy Pimblett gets absolutely killed by Justin Gaethje. But Paddy Pimblett, man, he continues to impress me every single time he fights. And proves me wrong. So I'm done betting against him.
Okay, Zito, what do you think about this? Used to be one of Ty's favorites, Estee Lauro, and he retained his belt against Gonzalez. What do you think of that one? Estelante Loro. Estelante Loro. Estelante Loro.
Yeah. Estelante. Yeah. You know what? He's a guy who changed his game according to his age. He's more inside the pocket. Estelante, was not, I can't even say earlier career. For quite a bit of his career, he was a guy who used his feet, used his timing. Very, very, very good slick defense and pretty good counter punching. But right now, he's more or less a pocket catch and shoot guy. And he's right now. He's effective. He's effective, and right now I would like to see him fight. One of the top guys in middleweight. Right now in middleweight, I would like to see him fight one of the top guys. To be honest, I think he gives anybody trouble. Not saying he beats everybody, but I think he gives anybody trouble. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you about Sugar Shane Mosley in his loss last week to Ramirez.
Yeah. I kind of caught that one, and boy, I like Shane Mosley Jr. has a pretty good style. Has very, very good fundamentally. It's just, to me, I think pressure really, really gives him trouble. Tough, durable pressure. I mean, it can't usually give anybody trouble, but Shane Mosley Jr. seems to really have, not be able to beat those kind of fighters.
Mm-hmm.
They got kind of style, to be specific. The guy's just going to be there to take a shot, but boy, who could get theirs off too. Shane Mosley, he's very, very gifted, very fundamentally skilled. I just think that there's, he's I don't want to say not durable because he's a tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back. He's not going to give up easy. But I just think that he's not at that level.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, Caden, here it comes. Sean Strickland, Anthony Hernandez, February 26th.
Should be a good one. Anthony Hernandez more on the come up, and Sean Strickland really isn't anymore, sadly. But I liked Strickland early on when he first came back from retirement. He retired early 20s, and then he came back and had that title run and beat Adesanya. And he kind of he created this personality for himself, like Kobe Covington did. And it turned into like a thing that he just did an over-obsessive amount. At the start, it was kind of funny because he knew how to do it and it was new. And after a while, that stuff just kind of gets old, Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's kind of what happened to Sean Strickland. Nobody really talks about him anymore.
Right.
Anthony Hernandez, he's a new face, but he seems pretty good too. I think this is his first fight to try and get into the top 10 ranks of that division.
Mm-hmm.
And this is definitely a great fight for him. He's a wrestling heavy guy. You see Sean Strickland, he's always caging up, arms up, moving forward. But it's not too hard to get him off balance. Sean Strickland, he's been an easy takedown for almost every high level grappler he's ever faced.
Mm-hmm.
I think Anthony Hernandez wins this fight handily. But Sean Strickland always has a puncher's chance, definitely, without a doubt.
Okay. All right, Z. What do you think about Rodriguez and Hiller, Martinez Thriller?
We're talking about Bam Rodriguez.
Right.
He looked impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Bam's a guy who's going to come forward, inside fighter, but he's very, very acute defensively to be an inside fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And he's tenacious.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like Bam. I'd love to see what he's got moving forward. I'm very high on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll give you another fast one here. Tyrone Woodley says that given a chance, he will hurt Anderson Silva. True or false?
No, I don't see that. Tyrone Woodley, he hasn't been. Neither of his fighters, been active, and I assume you're talking about boxing,
right?
And I don't think either guy is going to particularly hurt the other one. But I will give the edge to Anderson Silva. He's been more active lately that I know. Lately he's been more active. And as far as just with the hands, as far as striking with the hands, I would go with Anderson Silva.
Mm-hmm.
He was athletic and explosive, but the older he got, when he lost that, he doesn't have the hand skills to be a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
So. I'm not saying Anderson Silva, he had hand skills, but still,
mm-hmm.
and the make capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing the whole fight against Jake Paul, I'm definitely going to give Anderson Silva the edge with the hand. So I would actually go with Anderson Silva on that.
Okay. Caden, what do you think of the Alexis Grasso fight last week with Rose Namajunas?
I don't think I saw that one.
Okay. All right. That's something that you're not getting off the hook that easy, pal. How about Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway, that's set for 2026.
That's recently with Max Holloway being the BMF, it's kind of put him into positions now where he's got to fight. He's got to fight everyone's favorite fighter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Max is already a lot of people's favorite fighters. And now, like before you had Max Holloway versus Justin Gaethje. You had Max Holloway versus Volkanovski. Now it's Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. Like you don't want any of these guys to lose. You know what I mean? You don't want any of these dudes to lose.
Mm-hmm.
They had Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the same kind of vibes. You know what I mean? Where I just it's like a split road. I right now I'm at the point where I'm just gonna root for whoever's doing best during the fight. But who I think is gonna win the fight? This is a little bit different from the Dustin Poirier one. That one I was sure I thought Dustin Poirier had that, and Max Holloway surprised me. Man, he looked great. He looked absolutely phenomenal in that second fight against Dustin Poirier.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still not that old. He's like 32 years old. There's no reason why he can't be considered or in the conversation for being a big contender for the actual belt, and not just staying as the BMF champion.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of this fight, I think it is a little bit different from that Dustin fight. I don't think this will be a stand and bang fight. I think Charles Oliveira is going to want to take this to the ground as early as he can.
Mm-hmm.
We saw what happened with Charles against Topuria. We saw what happened with Charles against Islam Makhachev, Charles against Michael Chandler, Charles against Gaethje. He gets touched, man. He gets hands put on him. He knows how to recover. He's one of the best at recovering in the UFC. But man, with a guy like Holloway, he will put your lights out, man. He will put your lights out. And you look at Oliveira's last fight against Topuria. He's already had his chin cracked. That was the second time he's been knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like the first time he's been knocked out like dead cold like that.
Right.
I don't think it's helping him at all. He just keeps on regressing. And he doesn't stop fighting these high-level guys. He never takes an easy fight, never a fight off, which you got to love about Charles Oliveira.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to have to go with Max Holloway in this fight.
Ooh, okay. How about you, Z? Do you have anything on that one?
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree with Caden. Right now, Oliveira, the same case that Caden made as far as Dustin Gaethje, I'm going to kind of put that on Oliveira. Been around for a while, one of the greatest fought everybody, but a lot of wars and age and fighting age on. And with that said, Holloway's fresher. As simple as that. Max Holloway's fresher. So I will have to agree with that.
Okay. All right. Caden, do we think Sean Strickland and Anthony Hernandez? What, do we get that one yet?
Yes, we did.
And the I asked you about Volkanovski, right? The Volkanovski and Lopez too?
No, I did. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, okay. Just trying to catch up on that too.
I'm surprised about that. I thought it would be Sodiq Yusuff versus Volkanovski, especially because look at Sodiq Yusuff's last fight. He had a beautiful spinning elbow knockout. Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez. His last fight against Volkanovski, it was like he got controlled the whole fight. It was complete veteran move from Volkanovski. He knew the game. Whatever Diego Lopez tried to instill in the fight, tried to do a takedown. It was outclassed. It was just pure class and experience from Volk in that fight. And that was a fight that I expected Volkanovski to lose.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it would be better to get a guy like Sadiq Yusuf into the octagon against Volkanovski, and not Diego Lopez. And I'm a Diego Lopez fan, but I just think he needs some time. You know what I mean? He's a young guy. He's also a part of that Fightnwords group with Carlos Prates. And the one thing about this group is they all make each other better. You know, they all train together in Brazil. They all make each other better. They're all on the up and up right now. I just think they need some time to develop, especially the younger ones, man. They just need some time. And these dudes can be special. Diego Lopez, he probably, you know, I think I've always said when I saw him when he first came to the UFC, I said, wow, this guy, he probably will be a UFC champion one day. And now look at him. He's up there. He's knocking on the door. I just need some. I think throwing him back in there against Volk would be a little bit cool. I think we need a fresh face in there before, and Diego Lopez needs another win before he should face Volkanovski.
Okay. Z, the news came out this week that Triple G is to become the president of the WBO. Is that a step up, step down? What do you think?
Oh man, it's a pretty good step for him. I mean,
yeah.
After boxing and life after boxing, I would say that's a pretty good step up. Step up obviously because he's not fighting anymore. But yeah, I would. It sounds pretty good to me for Triple G at least. Yeah.
Okay. How about well, tonight we got Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. There was some talk earlier in the week that Paul had cut himself or something like that, and they didn't know whether it was going to go or not. But as of tonight, I understand it is going to go.
Oh my goodness, that's happening already tonight. Well, yeah, as I say, Jake, if it's legitimate, I don't give Jake Paul a shot. If it's legitimate, that is yet to be seen. The legitimacy of this fight is yet to be seen. But if it's legitimate, I really can't give Jake Paul a shot.
They said that somewhere I read that in the fight with Tyson, that Tyson was told he couldn't hit hard, couldn't knock him out, couldn't do this, couldn't do that. That's not normal for an exhibition, is it?
For exhibition, yes. Because remember, Mike Tyson and Roy Jones had an exhibition, and Mike Tyson sort of fought the same way. So when I saw him fighting Jake Paul, I was the guy who fought Roy Jones. He's going certain speed. He's going defensively, but offensively, he's not throwing those sorts of punches in those sorts of locations. Meaning, he could hit the head or the side of the ear. He's going to hit the wrist. He'll throw in flurries, but not really hard flurries. So, more speed and power. Mike Tyson, I can see that very clearly. I do not know now. And to be honest, Jake Paul is the guy right now. He's generating quite a bit of money in boxing on his own. So, and he's basically doing his own promotion. When you're doing, you have a lot of control over what happens during the fight. So that's why I question the legitimacy of the fight coming up with Joshua. But that's yet to be seen.
Okay. Just so our fans would know that Ferdinand Mendoza from Indiana won the Heisman Trophy tonight. It's announced.
Oh, are you serious?
Yep.
Too bad. It's too bad it's the quarterback's trophy, man.
That
belongs to Jeremiah Love.
Oh, sure. I don't think anybody should have gotten it other than Jeremiah Love. That boy. I'm just amazed. Oh yeah, I'm just amazed. He's not really that tall, but man, he's fast and he can get through those.
He's only around like 5'11". I think the main reason why he didn't get the Heisman was because Notre Dame didn't get him to
into a post bowl.
The playoffs.
Yeah.
That and it's also a quarterback's award.
Yeah. Well, depending who you talk to, it's a dire thing for Notre Dame, of course, to have a winning record and then not get in. But to be knocked out from 12th down to 13th just to put Miami in, there seems to be now a call for an investigation of the people who are on the CFP and what the ACC did to get Miami in there. So I'm sure that final chapter hasn't been written yet. But it's also possibility that Notre Dame will be joining the SEC, which should be announced probably the end of the year. Okay.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. They're in all the way in Indiana. As an
Yeah.
SEC, that's the South.
Yeah. It's Oklahoma's SEC.
I think they joined the ACC.
Yeah, they are in the ACC. They're getting out of the ACC.
No, they're not in any. They're not in any. But football isn't in any. Everything else for them is in the ACC.
Yeah. Okay. Brandon Morano versus Tatsumi Taira. Caden.
I forget. Did that fight come up already, or is that? I forget about that.
That's tonight.
That's tonight.
Yeah.
I like Brandon Moreno. I do. I think Taira. I think he came into the UFC and he fought the best of the best too early. Man, he should have a fight that he should have started out with. Should have been Brandon Moreno.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes from the UFC as an undefeated guy. Fights for the title in back-to-back fights. Loses both of them. Loses his first 3 fights in a row in the UFC. And now he's...
You there?
Sorry about that. I shut out.
Yeah.
Now his confidence is destroyed, man. He's like, what do you expect him to do after being an undefeated fighter his entire career, being fighting in Thailand his entire life, having over 100 fights, not losing a single one, and going to the UFC and losing his first 3. And before he took that fight against Moreno, he was contemplating retiring from the UFC and just going back to Thailand. So I just think his confidence is shot, man. And Brandon Moreno, he can be a suffocator at times. He's got great grappling, and he's able to close distance well, and that's really what Taira has struggled with. And I hope he doesn't lose again. But this is really I don't think it looks too good for him again. I'm gonna have to take Brandon Moreno on that.
Okay. All right. Z, how about Teofimo Lopez slapping Arnold Barbosa? What do you think about that? At the weigh-in.
That was Teofimo's last fight. To me, it was a very, very good performance. Barbosa is a very credible fighter, champion, actually. And Teofimo Lopez, I don't want to say made it look easy, but he looked good. He looked real good against Barbosa. And we're going to see what we have next for Shakur Stevenson.
Okay. Let me ask you one more. I got you here. There's talk now that Tyson and Mayweather may fight in February. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, you're talking about an exhibition.
Yeah.
That has to do. It'll be interesting to see how that. It's going to be interesting just to see how that looks. Just how that looks with those 2 guys in the ring. Tyson he's going to be much bigger than Mayweather. I think he's pretty much taller and definitely wider. And Mayweather's not as fast anymore. As I said, so I really just anticipate an exhibition, a skillful exhibition.
Okay. Caden, what do you think about? Let's see. Bobby Green and Lance Gibson.
I didn't hear anything about that one, but Bobby Green's my guy, man. I don't know much about the guy fighting, but Bobby Green's my guy. And no matter what, I'm always going to have to go with Bobby Green, man.
Okay. Just for some background, Gibson was a 6-time Bellator winner, our champion. So he's one of these crossovers from Bellator. And they're trying to set this fight before the end of 25, which doesn't give them a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
But we'll see about that one.
So what you're telling me is that Bobby Green is going to lose?
Well, could be. Yeah.
Sound good.
Yeah. All right, Z, here's one for you. Alexander Usyk has decided to call out Deontay Wilder.
Yeah. That is a fight that would have been more competitive about maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, it'll generate money, but as far as competitive nature, Deontay Wilder to me is done on an upper level. Especially after looking at his last fight, he didn't look. He looked like his main weapon isn't coming off like that anymore. His launch pad for his missile is getting rusty. And that there is probably the least thing that Deontay Wilder can lose. We've always talked about his athleticism, his speed, his power, his timing. But as was said, what I always say about guys, athletic guys, when you rely on your athleticism for the most part purely, then when you lose your athleticism, you need your fundamentals. You need your technique. As a guy like Erislandy Lara, who's getting older, and he's changing his game according to what he can do physically. Don't think Deontay Wilder, could do that to that level. And to fight a guy like Alexander Usyk, who's I'm going to say this: Usyk may be in decline himself a bit, but not to that level, to where I think anybody right now in the heavyweight division can beat him, and especially Deontay Wilder.
Okay.
So I mean, it's a good fight to make money with, but I think Deontay Wilder probably should be retired.
Okay. Hey, Caden, Jamal Hill went to watch a fight and ended up getting into a fight and getting arrested. What's your thoughts?
I'm not too surprised. He's he's a prima donna, man. He's absolute prima donna, always getting himself into something. So I'm not too surprised about that.
Okay. When he was in his prime, oh God, help me out here, Z, from heavyweight from St. Pete. Oh my God.
Heavyweight from St. Pete.
Yeah, he worked in the same gym as Keith and oh crap. He was a champ before Keith.
I don't think a heavyweight.
Yeah, maybe he might be a middleweight. He probably was a middleweight. I'm blanking.
Not Winky, right?
No, he worked with Rinky too. Yeah. Anyway, we went to the fight. In fact, we were standing there talking to Winky and his handler at the time, and all of a sudden there was a commotion on the other side of the ring, and it was this guy's brother and a couple other thugs that came in with him and started a big fight over in the corner. And it took like 6 deputies and 6 St. Pete cops to break it all up. And like 2 weeks later, the brother caused a major problem went into a house and hurt somebody, then hid up in the attic. And what happened was that when the deputy, when was he a deputy? Yeah, when the deputy Yazowitz walked into the house, he slid the door over from the attic and shot and killed him. Then he went down and pulled the body up, and he put a string on the guy's leg. And when they called out, "Are you okay?" he would lift it and let it down as like a sign. And it ended up, it didn't end up well, because they went into Tampa, brought in a boom, and they just destroyed the house till they got to him. And he's now serving life in prison for killing a police officer. I wish I could remember his name, but I diverse. So. All right, let's get back to the thing here. Caden, the question has come up: is Hamzat bigger star than Perea?
In terms of stardom, no. He's a better fighter right now. I feel Hamzat. But yeah, I
Oh, we lost Caden again. He must be walking around his house. Okay, Z, we'll get back to you until we get him back on. Chris Wildman and Anderson Silva. What do you think?
The fighting again. What is this, boxing?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Anderson Silva. And this one, Chris Rodman. Even in his MMA career, he was a guy who hit hard. wasn't really technical with the hands. As far as boxing, I see the same way.
Okay. How about here's one I wanted to ask you about all night. Deontay Wilder and Derek Chisora.
That to me would be a more interesting fight than Deontay Wilder and Usyk. That to me would be a more doable fight at the moment. That would be. I don't say I would actually have to think on that one to really kind of dissect it. They're both older. They're both slower in their careers, but they both present each other with trouble that the other one tends not to like. So that would, to me, would be a very interesting fight. I'd love to see that.
Okay. How about Inoue and Picasso?
I'm Inoue right now. It was on. I think he is a guy right now, almost head and shoulders above the guys who fight. Almost on the run to me like Chocolatito was. With the grip. So I mean, he's moving up and he's fighting guys probably a little heavier than him naturally. And he's still doing well. So I'm going to stick with him until I don't have to, because styles don't give Inoue trouble. Style, the only thing is he'll get caught throwing too many punches. He'll get caught. He's about to be good caught, but he can take it. So him being able to take them between the punches and that he's delivering, and it's not easy because he's delivering hard, accurate punches. Fast, hard, accurate punches. It's hard to counter punch somebody when you're getting punched directly in the mouth. Sure. So I mean, you have to kind of navigate that. With that said, I don't see anybody beating Inoue right now unless he moves up. Okay.
And let me we'll round this last one out. I'm going to ask you Nate Diaz and Paddy Pimbrett.
Yeah, Nate Diaz. I'm going to go with Paddy. I think Nate Diaz, as far as competitive, high level competitiveness in the UFC is done. I just think he's done as far as high level competitive. He's had his time, and he's always been a guy who's going to draw the fans and be excited. But I think he slowed up to the point to where that he's not going to be able to beat these younger, definitely younger than them guys, up and coming guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that brings us to our end of the program. Z, I want to thank you again for everything you've done for me all year long. You're always there to answer that phone when we need you, and you're always very knowledgeable about the fight game on both sides. So I appreciate that, and I love seeing that picture of you and your family for Thanksgiving. As we this is going to be our last program for the year, and I want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and your mom and Ty and the whole family, and just keep your head above water like you always do. If people from St. Peter's Cathedral, as I've said many times, could see the man you've grown into, they would just fall down in disbelief. I mean, you've really corrected yourself. You've done a great job. You've raised a nice family, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. Very much appreciate everything you do. But
okay, well, you can lead us out since you're the only one here.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely want to thank you, Butch. Oh my goodness, everything you do. Wish you and the family Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, Happy Holidays. For all of my Fightnwords family, please have a happy and safe holiday. You chose definitely a memory of Bob, Coach Mel, and Dr. Chris. And if anyone wants to hear any Fightwords, please do call. Happy New Year.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, these programs are brought to you each and every day of the week in grateful appreciation to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, the men and women of police and fire services, the doctors and nurses, the first responders at the hospitals, and the wonderful people in the markets that keep this shelf stocked. This is the end of our season. We start our 26th season next year. We want to thank each and every one of you for listening. It's been a pleasure to bring programs to you each week, and with such knowledgeable people, we were able to get just the cream of the crop to be able to work with. So as you can hear, and we appreciate each and every one of them. And so these programs are also dedicated to those who've lost their lives in the line of duty. Deputy Sheriff Julie Musgrove would be the lead because we just lost her this week. Deputy Robert Anthony Carroll, Patrolman Jeffrey Colbert, Patrolman David Curtis, Patrolman Jeffrey Yazowitz, Sergeant Thomas Banger, Sergeant San Diego Officer Mike Henler, Sergeant Tom Wilson, Charlotte County Sheriff's Department, Detective Randy Bell, Detective Ricky Childers, Patrolman Charlie Condit, Tarpon Springs Police Department, Deputy Chief Mike Godwin, Philadelphia Fire Department, Lieutenant Joyce Craig Lewis, Philadelphia Fire Department, Sergeant James O'Connor, Philadelphia Police Department, Sergeant Chris LeBake, Hillsbury County Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant Mike Zerba, Newcastle County Police, Patrolman Norfolk Crispin, Lakeland PD, Deputy Josh Meyer, Nassau County Sheriff's Department, Captain Matt Letourneau, Philadelphia Fire Department, Captain Chris Leach, Wilmington Fire Department, Lieutenant Ardith Hope, Wilmington Fire Department, Lieutenant Jerry Ficus, Wilmington Fire Department, Chief Jimmy Ford, Wilmington Fire Department, Chief Al Hogle, Longboat Key Police Department, Deputy Mike Hargrove, Pinellas County Sheriff's Department, Trooper Chelsea Richards, Florida Highway Patrol, Trooper Joe Bullock, Florida Highway Patrol, Trooper Zachary Ben, Florida Highway Patrol, Sergeant Chris Fitzgerald, Philadelphia Police Department, Sergeant Ramon Mendez, Philadelphia Police Department, Chief Corey Compantier, Buffalo Creek Fire Department, Deputy Ronnie Ronanzitsky, Manatee County Sheriff's Department, and Patrolman Zachary Butterfield, Bradenton Police Department. My brothers and sisters, although you may be 10-7 at this point in time, sometime we'll be 10-10 at the table of the Lord. Until that time, may the roads rise up to meet you. May the winds be always at your back. May the rains fall softly on your fields and the sun shine lightly on your face. Until we meet again, may the good Lord keep you and your family always in the palm of his hands. Good night. God bless and have a happy, safe holiday season. But just please, 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 if you drink, don't drive. If you drive, don't drink. Thanks a lot and good night.